Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Nazo Circus. Today, my guest is Jenny Chika Okafor. You guys probably have already heard her speak because she's been a guest on here before and she will be a regular guest. Jenny, you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Welcome on board today. We've got so much coming in.
So today, Jenny, we want to talk about contact between children and the non-resident parents. So by that, I mean when a couple separates, dad or mom leaves the house and the other parent cares for the children. And we found that, or I've found that many times the resident parent withholds contact between the non-resident parent and the children for whatever reasons. And that's what we want to discuss today because it's having like grave impacts on the children. So what's been your experience?
Well, thank you so much, Nazo. It's a very, very important topic. And I can tell you so much about this because I'm a child from a broken home, so they say. Mm-hmm. My parents separated when I was little, but thankfully I was raised by my grandmother and it was a stable home. However, from practice and working in the community, I have seen so much about what happens. And to me, if wishes were horses, I think that when couples get to the point where they can't cope with each other anymore, they don't want to be together anymore, and they have to go their separate ways, they have to have a conversation amongst themselves and decide what is best for the children. We all know each other's strengths. Mm-hmm. You know that I know that my husband may be the one who takes the children to school. He takes joy in just waiting, taking them,
or football practice on Saturdays
and all of that. Mm-hmm. We need to factor all of those things into the separation agreement. There has to be a working together agreement.
Yeah.
But what I see all the time is that sometimes the men set up the women set up the men. And when they do that, there is no room for conversation. Maybe I've gone to work and my husband decides that, it's all over. He doesn't want to have anything to do with me. He takes his bags after dropping the children off from school and then tells me that, sorry, I've left. So I come home to an empty home. I don't even know where to find him. I can't even decide, how the children are going to see him until he gets back to me.
I think, sorry to cut you, I think the important thing is you said working together agreement. Mm-hmm. The issue is that when people separate, many people, when they separate, there's no such thing as an agreement.
No.
People are angry, people are upset for whatever, whatever the reason for the breakup is. So at that point, an agreement is out of the window.
Exactly.
And certainly at that point, many of them are not even thinking about what is in the children's best interests, which is our main concern.
Exactly.
So I think that maybe us promoting mediation because, at that point, people can't stand each other. So we can't expect them to sit down and reach an agreement. That's like, what I mean?
You remember I said if wishes were husbands,
yeah, true.
That's
true.
what I would have preferred. But in most cases, it doesn't happen. But when it happens and we've walked our separate ways, we must always bear in mind that the relationship breakdown is between us as adults,
of course,
as the parents of the children, not between the two of us and our children or one of us and the children.
Yeah.
The children definitely need both parents, so long as they're alive, to actually grow up and be settled
and be well-rounded. Yes,
they need to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
So I know that this is a difficult time. People are angry, mothers are angry, and then you begin to say things that you're not supposed to say. The children start crying, they're looking for their father, and a lot of things happen. I think that the best way to do things is that, yes, of course, maybe a week or two, the cooling off time. Once that cooling off time passes, we need to send each other a clear message. So what do we do about the children? If the man, most times you have a man who started a new relationship and the girl says, I don't want to see your children.
Or a woman who's got a new
I don't want to see. I had a guy called me. He used to cry over not seeing his children. And then he called one day and said, Jenny, can you believe? I came home and my children were waiting in my front door. And I thought, what happened? Their mother is in a new relationship and the man
needs her
want the
time.
children, so she sent the children back to me. So he was happy. This is what we've been trying to get through the courts, but now she's made up her mind. But at the end of the, we must always know that the decision to be together was made by us adults.
Of course.
And that decision was made before the children were born. We therefore cannot afford to suffer the children because of the mistakes that we adults made. So we need to sit down together. If we can't do it together
Or
because
separately.
we are angry, we can get relatives, first of all, that we trust and say, look, this is what I would like. Let them negotiate and settle it. But where we cannot do that, we need to seek mediation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to seek mediation. The mediator, we need to explain as well. I'm sure you can explain the role of the mediator because some people don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy said to me, nobody can tell me what to do with my children and my wife. I make the decision. But that's not the point.
I think that a lot of people don't actually, or a lot of people don't, or a lot of maybe, I don't want to say a lot of solicitors because I don't know, but many parents don't understand what mediation is. So many of them say, no, I don't want him. I don't want to reconcile. That's not mediation. So many say, no, I don't want to agree with her. That's not mediation. Mediation is where you sit with a neutral party called a mediator. You say what you want, the other person says what they want, and the mediator tries to help you guys reach an agreement that works for both of you. Exactly. The whole point is to try and avoid court.
Conflict.
So, yes, I always, that's for me as a family lawyer, I always start with promoting mediation. Of course, there are exemptions to mediation where there's been domestic abuse. You know, that's one of the exemptions, as you know. But I always promote mediation. And so moving on, if mediation doesn't work, let's talk about this issue because I get frustrated and I'm going to go down to Nigerian men because, like, you know, we're Nigerian. These are people that, you know, we have families, we have friends, or, you know, Nigerian men. I get frustrated because so many times I talk to, you know, Nigerian fathers. There's been a breakup in the family, divorce or separation or whatever. Mom, for whatever reason, withholds contact. And our men seem to have this thing of, my children will come and find me. And I find that very frustrating because, first of all, at what age are they coming to find you? If you separate at 5.
That's a no-no.
If you separate at 5 and they find you at 18, 13 years have gone.
Yeah.
So for me, I would like to, and I preach when people ask me, please go through the courts. There is a court system. Have you found that? Have you found that thing of my children will come and find me? Have you heard that a lot, or is it just me?
I've heard that a lot, and you know, I think that comes about most times when the fathers are trying, and the women are blocking them and saying, "Oh, you can't see them. I'll tell you, you will never see them again because you did this to me, because you did that to me. You will never see them again." And the fathers get frustrated and said, "Well, at the end of the day, they will grow up. They will come and find me."
Yeah.
And my advice is, don't wait for your children to come and find you when they are adults. Go and find your children. Insist, persist, and continue to persist and insist
don't give
until
up.
you see your children. You can't give up on your children. You must actually be there for them. Go through the courts. If your wife or partner or ex won't give you access and have an agreement informally, take it to the court. And the reason why I tell people to go to court is, if you go to court and they are playing the system saying you can't come, the court will know when it is about them or about the children, because immediately it gets into the court, it's about the best interest of the child, the welfare of the child. The two of you don't exist anymore. So unless you can prove that your husband or your wife attacked you in the presence of your children, this person is violent, is a convicted abuser or violent person, you can never win that case. But at the end of the day, if you go through that process and you can't get access because the other party has managed to tell so much lies because of the lack of testing of evidence in family courts, it's difficult. Then at least you have your record.
Of course.
When these children grow up and they say to you, you didn't look for us, we don't really care, you can show those papers and say, look, I tried, but I was stopped. And going to the court the first time and being refused does not mean that you should give up. You give it some time, circumstances change, the court may have said, look, we don't believe that you can look after these children because you haven't been actively supporting your wife, so they can't actually live with you without that interest suffering. You need to go and do parenting classes. You need to change your accommodation. You need to change your work and shows that you have enough time for the children and enough funds to sustain them and all of that. That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad start. But just go and get all of those things done.
You have to go and I think I like the courts as well because most times when the fathers, I'm generalizing, but it's mostly, the children tend to be, in my experience, mostly with the mothers. And then the dads have them, whenever it's agreed or ordered. Why I like the court is because a lot of the times, because the court is involved, the mothers in this case will go along with it. Contact starts for 5 months or 6 months. Maybe dad is single then. So mom is very happy. Okay, well, you're single, whatever. Down the road, dad finds a partner, mom stops contact. That way, because there's a court order, you go back to court and tell the court, this court order is not working. She's, I need to enforce it. So that's also another reason. But I always say when people come to me, I say to the fathers or the mothers, whoever is absent, the parent that's not in non-resident parent, you can't give up trying. This one of waiting for children to come to you, I don't understand that.
It's a no.
Another thing I want us to talk about is when resident parents withhold contact because the non-resident parent is not making financial contributions. And in this country, that doesn't mean that the parent that's not in the house cannot have contact because they're not contributing financially. But people tend to think that, okay, you're not giving me money, therefore you can't see the children. They're two separate things and they're separate routes. What's been your experience?
Yeah, I mean, that question of, you're not going to see your children unless you give me money. There is no financial, no contact without financial contribution. I had a very good experience of, talking to someone generally, and she was so bitter and saying, oh, he will never see them. He doesn't support me with anything. I said, look, you don't know whether he has. If he doesn't have money, that doesn't mean that he can't be a father. He may be a loving guy, but he doesn't have the means and all of that. Have you discussed that money? Oh, I know he has money. He gives his mother money and all of that. But at the end of the day, you also have that avenue of going to the CSA.
Of course, the child maintenance service.
Go to the child support agency, and then they will assess them, and then find out whether they have money to give you. And sometimes these guys are working so hard and giving, but some of the mothers as well, because they are on benefit, they're working, claiming a working tax credit, child whatever credit, claiming all the benefits. They don't want money to go into their account. So they then say to the fathers, well, you need to give me money, but you have to give me cash.
So that it doesn't class as income, which means that they fail the merit test.
And then if you give the mother cash, she can still tell the child that your dad doesn't care, he doesn't give us anything. And some parents will also say, yeah, okay, I'll give you cash, but I need to see what you are doing with it for my children. A particular guy sent me a voice note where his son, who I think was about 11, then said, Dad, don't give mom any more money. All she does is do ashobi, do her nails, do her eyelashes, and they dance party every weekend. She doesn't buy us anything. Dad, buy us food. We don't have food in this house.
Oh, my God.
So the man said, okay, fair enough. What I'll be doing now, you give me your monthly food list.
Let me do the shopping.
Buy all of them, do all the shopping, and bring to the house by Uber. And then the children will. He even went as far as cooking food to put in the fridge, because the children will phone and say, look, Dad, can you bring us... can you order us McDonald's or something? Because there's no food in the house. And she won't let him go into the house. There's something else as well that bothers me, because as far as I'm concerned, if I'm a guy, I will have a bad attitude. If I'm giving you my money to raise my children, I need to be sure that you're spending that money, investing it in my children.
Of course.
Yeah. So if I feel that you're not investing it in my children, I'll refuse to give you that money. And if you're tired, send them back to me.
Yeah, and I'll look after them.
And unfortunately, because of the system, the way the system works, some women misunderstand things and think, because I'm a woman, I will be in control all the time. Somebody did that, took the children. Father said, can I have my children because you can't look after them? She said, no. And then the man went to court. When they went to court, the court said, you need to move out of the house where you are living with the children, because you have demonstrated lack of ability to look after these children. You're a risk to the children. The man needs to move back into his house. He's only renting a room in a friend's house because you excluded him. This is a house he had nearly paid mortgage for about 21 years. And you said, oh, I'm going to live here, you pay for it. And by the time you knew it, the court assessed her, said that she had mental health issues, and threw her out. And now she's really, really going crazy and saying how the system is against her. But
so the children are now with it. The children are now with the dad.
Because the children made it clear to the Kafkas that they don't want to live with their mother because she drinks and she brings different men to the house and all of that. They don't feel safe. And that was how she lost custody. So there is need for us to actually learn more about these things. We hate to be tutored on things. We hate counseling. We, like you said, mediation. We need to take whatever is available to us in terms of learning. If you feel that your relationship has reached a point where there is no going back and it's become so toxic that you two can't tolerate one another, then you need to have a conversation.
Have a plan.
Have a plan. Forward. And some of our men as well are difficult. It's either the way or the highway. And when you get to that point, it makes it difficult to discuss anything. So long as the parents bear in mind that when the relationship hits a rock, it's no longer about them. It's about the children. Every child needs a father. Every child needs a mother. No matter how bad your mother or father
together or separate.
Together or separate. And I'm an advocate of, if it's not working, go your separate ways, but raise the children. Be present in their lives. I like families who, when they're not together, they still meet to take the children to school and go to school meetings, go to plays and everything. Go and have something to eat and go their separate ways.
I think the thing is, I think it all boils down to being child-focused, regardless of what's going on. That's the bottom line. If you're not child-focused, then when things, when the relationship ends, then everything else ends with it.
Yes. It shouldn't end because, the children need their father.
Yeah.
There was one particular case that came to me from that community. I felt so sad. This woman refused to give the father access to to his two children. This guy tried and tried, and he's so well, he's well settled, well adjusted. He has money. He could do anything for the children. But the girl refused. She said, "No, you can't see the children." So when that happened, I said, did you think about this? She said no. And surprise, surprise, she got diagnosed with terminal cancer. And she was still on her cancer bed and said, "Oh, I need to make you a guardian for my children. They will come and live with you." I said, no, they can't come and live with you because they have a surviving parent.
Yeah.
And because they have a surviving parent, they need to go. The first priority is their father. Their father will be assessed. If then he's not capable, then that's when they go to somebody else, maybe to foster care. If there's no near relative in the country that these children are used to. She fought this until the very last minute.
Oh my God.
And you can imagine that when she died, the boy, I think, was 15 and the girl 13. They were in private school. She was doing okay. And you would have seen the relief in the children's faces when their father turned up to take them. He took them. He lives outside London. He's married to another woman. And I think it took him years to get involved with somebody else because this lady really prepared him. So because of that, So, but now you're gone and the children are with their father. What about giving them the chance to actually be friends and close to their father in case something like that happens, so that it's not a shock to them. It causes them trauma.
I think for a lot of people, when there are couples, when they separate, the one with the children, it's also a control thing. I had a situation where somebody wanted to specify, okay, you can see the children, but you can only see them in the house. I said, no, you can't. You cannot do that. They don't belong to these children. They're not chattel. They don't belong to you. And they don't belong to him either.
And I must supervise it.
I said, no, you can't. You cannot do that. So I think for me, for today's session, what I want to encourage and promote is people trying to mediate. If you can't mediate between each other, which I understand, sometimes it's so toxic you can't even stand each other. There must be a third party within the family, or if you go to church, within your church, a third party that can help you guys reach an agreement. If you don't want to involve people, because some people don't want people knowing their business, then go to mediation. You can find mediators everywhere. Just Google family mediators. They're everywhere. They're neutral, and they'll try to help you reach an agreement. If not, go to court. I just feel like enough of our people, and I'm hammering down on our people, because we just don't like to get the courts involved or whatever, but children are suffering.
And there is another thing. Consistency. When a court order is made and father is supposed to have children every other weekend. Mother is supposed to have the children during the week and give him access to contact once a week. You must both abide by that order.
People start to change the order.
I mean, sometimes the order will say that, or as may be agreed by parties. Mutual agreement of parties. But it is very, very important that you're consistent, because it's pointless that the court has said that you have your children every other weekend, and every other weekend, Mary, I have
a wedding.
I have a wedding. I can't. It will be next weekend, and then the next weekend. It's not about Mary. You're messing up her own arrangements and diary, but the children are no longer happy. They have had this reasonable expectation that daddy is going to come. They're all excited and all of that, and all of a sudden you dash their hopes. That is when, in future, you may want to come and see them or pick them up. They'll say, no, they're going to party with their friends because they don't trust you.
Yeah.
They don't believe that you can come.
Yeah.
And then you talk about chastisement. The way we were raised at home is quite different from the way children are raised here. We must learn to speak with our children, understand why they're saying and doing certain things, find out how things work in this system, and support them to go through whatever changes they're going through in their life. And separation and divorce. Separation and divorce are actually very serious, traumatic situations for children.
Of course.
It sort of brings fear. They don't know. They've had the security of mom and dad living together, no matter what the situation was, and all of a sudden they will be left alone. Mom may be a nurse going to work and not coming back early, so it then becomes that the children will be left on the eldest becomes a father, and that is not on. So you need to be hands-on. You need to be consistent. If the court says this time, this is what it is. If for any reason you two can't meet up with the times, share it. Decide what you want to do, and make sure that the children know that it's just something to do for their own welfare. There is this thing I like, which I have recommended to a number of my clients, the family app, the Family Wiz.
Okay.
So basically what it is, it's an app where if you don't want to talk to me, you don't talk to me. So we can use that app to arrange contacts, change contacts, arrange events, do everything. And if there's any doubt about who was doing something right or wrong, the court admits that in evidence.
Okay, what is it called?
I think the one I referred somebody to was Family Wiz.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an app.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just put Family Wiz or Family App.
Wiz as in what? How is it spelled?
I think it's WHIZZ.
Okay. Family Wiz. Yeah. Okay, I'll look it up.
It works.
That sounds good.
So if two of us are those that like to argue, we hate each other so much that every time we see each other, we want to push each other on the street. You
just use that.
See me. You use the app. And you can bring the children at the end of the road, and you watch them walk into this person, get into the car, and you
go about your business.
Yes,
yeah.
You don't have to speak to each other if it's that bad.
But Jenny, something that makes me actually baffles me is a lot of, I would say women, because a lot of women, when they withhold contact, I just wonder, don't you need a break? Because like, I'm a single mother, and I wish there were times that I could have a break when my child was younger. So you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, basically.
And the funny thing is that they do, and sometimes instead of giving the children to their fathers, they give them to their friends.
Right, just
to make sure that the father doesn't get the child. And then you're introducing these children to other families. You're not sure.
You don't even know what's going on.
Family. It's just that you're looking for a break. You need respite.
But the dad is there. And the dad is there.
The father is there. If he's willing to look after his children, he should. And I'm one person. I believe that if I had that opportunity and my husband was around and was not willing to look after the children, and I knew where he was, I will always drag the children and put them in front of his house and say, "Okay, please look after your children.
Here they are. I'm out. Here they are. I'm out of here.
I'm out, please."
Yes.
You can't run away.
Yeah.
And again, I realize there's another major issue. Some women, and I find it very depressing because it's always those who were not even born in the United Kingdom. Because they are giving paper to the father of the children, or because the two of them are going to get paper based on 7 years rule that the children have been here for the 7 consecutive years and everything. Once that time comes closer, they begin to nurse the fear that if this guy gets his papers, he's going to go. So they start causing trouble. So they will make allegations, lie, and all of that just to make sure that the guy does not get the paper. And I keep saying to them, what benefit is it to you that the father of your children does not have paper to work full time, help you.
So when we say paper, just to clarify, we mean like the status, the immigration.
Status,
Okay.
So what is the point? For me, if I'm involved in a relationship with a man who hasn't got papers and I have my children,
I would like you to be here, please. I'll help you. I'll help you sort your papers.
Let's share the responsibility. They're not mine.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
Exactly.
It's not easy. I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah. The funny thing is that these women are now admitting that they're having problems. They want to pretend, but they're having problems. And these children, majority of them, let me not over-exaggerate, I would say that about 60% of them the children have emotional issues, stability issues, because they are confused. You tell them A and B is happening. And one thing parents must desist from doing is telling children about their fathers. You don't do that.
Or their mothers.
You don't do that. Let the children find out for themselves. One thing I have, which is something I used when it came to me, my parents separated when I was little. And I used to see parents on visiting day. We went to boarding school in Nigeria. I used to see parents visit their children. I really loved the family idea. My grand who was raising me was old. She couldn't come all the time. Of course, I adored her. And I always longed for my father and mother to visit me together. My father was very consistent. When he returned, he used to make sure that every visiting day he was there. On the day that it was our outing, he sent somebody to come and pick me up, and then we did a lot of things together and enjoyed his company. And one day I said, Dad, why can't you bring back my mom so that you two can visit us, visit me just like other parents? And he said, oh, Pet, it's a long story. Your mom wouldn't want to come, but I will tell you one day. And I said, okay, no problem. And then one day again, I asked again, and he said, but what is the problem? Can't you just resolve it? And he said, look, your mom is not here. And one thing I don't want to do is to talk about your mom behind her back. So you leave it, you're quite young, you're getting older. One day we will all sit together in England
and
then have a conversation. You will hear her side of the story. I will tell my side of the story. If you feel that I'm wrong, then tell me, I will apologize. If your mom is wrong, tell her the same. One thing is very clear. We are not fighting. I still go to your mom's house to eat. We do things together. We drink together. We see each other. The only thing is that we're no longer married. So don't worry about it at all. You're together. And believe it or not, my father used to come here. This is something for Nigerian parents, because some of them may think, oh, your mother was using voodoo on your father or something. My father used to come here on holiday. He would go and buy me all the things I needed from Marks and Spencer, all my Bali shoes, Bruno Mali shoes and everything, and wristwatch. He would come back and say, oh, your mom gave you this, and I bought you this. And I later on found out that he bought everything. He bought everything. So he knew the importance of me.
I'm not putting you in the middle.
No, not putting me in the middle.
Yeah, because you're
until I met my mother again at the age of, I think, 23 or 21.
You had no idea that she wasn't.
I had no idea that there was any issues. And my mom was then on the other side who couldn't hold it. She was telling me everything. I was like, so what's going on?
You know our mouths with it.
Exactly. I was okay, so what's going on? So I know it's difficult, but I used that. When my relationship with my late ex-husband broke down, I made sure that I never discussed him with the children. And I said to the children, the truth is this: if you go to your dad and he has questions to ask about me, what I do, where I am, and who I'm seeing or nothing, you are at liberty to discuss it. But immediately you open my door, I don't want to know. Don't tell me what was discussed. We don't discuss your father in this house. And they worked for us. So they got to the point that when they went there and he wanted to say, oh, your mom this, they
said, please don't, please. That's a good good thing to practice. But it will take a lot of practice.
It does.
Especially when, it's been, traumatic.
I know.
And maybe there's been domestic abuse or whatever. Yeah, so
I think I'll be domestic abuse. Yes, of course. If there was domestic abuse and you or your husband attacked one another or each other in front of the children, which also is wrong for the children because it traumatizes them and they become very fearful. Unless that was the situation, we must deal with our issues without our children present. Yeah, there are some people who have actually managed to find solutions to it. They don't discuss relationships when the children are there. They deal with it in their bedrooms or even when they go to work, they go at lunchtime, call each other on the phone and curse, say whatever they want to say. But when they come back, they put together the ideal family situation. Recently, somebody was telling me that her second daughter has got a mental breakdown, and she's now in a care home and in and out of mental health hospital. And that was purely because of the fear of the relationship breakdown between her and her father. She was very close to her father, and she didn't want the relationship to break down. But when it broke down, the mother took the child and said, no more.
Oh, no.
So the trauma of it affected.
Yeah.
The social services realized that when the child is in the care of her father, she's a different animal. She's very happy and all of that. And that was how she lost the custody of the children.
Of the children.
Yeah. Because they started talking about harmful parenting. She can't control she can't control her emotions and all of that. So that happens.
Okay. I think to round up, I want to say, the mothers love their children, fathers love their children. They may not love each other, but if they're child focused, when relationships break down, we must remain child focused, and that's the only way we can preserve our children, preserve their innocence, their mental health, and everything else. So I think that it's good that we had this conversation, because we deal with it all the time, and it's really, people just forget that the children are there. The people are busy fighting each other, and they forget that the children are the innocent victims in this whole thing.
There have been occasions where things were thrown, like mom threw a plate at dad, and it landed on the child's head.
Can you imagine? That's just disgusting.
Yeah, so we just need to be careful.
Yeah. Okay, so Jenny, do you have any last words before we round up? Because I think we've dealt with this issue.
Yeah,
thoroughly.
thank you again. My issue is family first. I'm speaking from the position of knowledge. I am a child of a broken home, but I was lucky to have been brought up in a very balanced way. No negative talks about anybody. We were happy. But from work, I've seen the impact of negative attitudes, attitudes of parents, and we must try to control our anger, manage our anger. Don't say negative things about parents. Let the children grow up. They will grow up. They find out things for themselves. They know who is nuts and who is not. So parents must try their very best not to speak down or against each other in front of the children. And whenever they realize that there is a problem in their relationship, they must try and talk about it. But if they can't talk about it, mediation, as you spoke about, this is very, very important. For the African man, going for mediation does not take away your right to make decisions in your own home. It helps you to manage the decisions you make, to make sure that it's in the best interest of a family and not your culture or tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a good way to round it up. And it's all about just promoting contact and staying child focused. Well, Jenny, it's been lovely having you.
Thank you.
And yes. So to everybody else, see you guys in 2 weeks. We hope that you enjoy this session. If you have any questions, please put them in the poll, the poll section. Please like, so that I know that you're at least listening, and let me know what your thoughts are. And if you have any questions for me that you want me to discuss, please, I would love that. So thank you so much. Until next time, it's peace and love.